In fact, you know, we had the privilege to serve with presidents in the House, ministers, the likes of Michuki, Saitoti, Honorable Raila Odinga, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta.
So that was coalition government?
No, yeah, but you know, those days ministers were in the House.
Yes.
So that was, the House was very, very interesting. But I am now going to UDA, the fourth party. And my people elected me on 3 parties. So which means they're not electing parties.
So what does that mean? He's a nomad, or what is he?
I'm the only member of Parliament, National Assembly today, who has been elected in 3 consecutive elections on 1 party.
The only member?
The only member. Go do your research.
I will. Thank you for that. Now, let's talk about Kondele, because I know you have a lot to say, both of you. There's a statement here from the Inspector General of Police, right? Talks about His Excellency Deputy President William Ruto touring Nyanza region, and then based on intelligence reports gathered, there were tensions during the rally, violence erupted, we saw that. Police reacted promptly, they go on to say, and His Excellency Deputy President was not injured, and he was, some vehicles were destroyed. Okay, that's a statement from the Office of the Inspector General. Mheshimiwa, your thoughts on, it's that season. We know there's going to be violence, but is it really necessary?
Now, before we even come to whether it is necessary, the statement you have read is from the police spokesman on behalf of the IG.
Correct.
And it completely contradicts what has been filed at the OP of Kisumu, I think, Central Sub-County OCPD, who says the Deputy President had a rally at a place called Juakali, then he came to Kondele, then he finished his rally. On his way out, some people threw stones, but the statement is talking about money. But having said that, that's not even the issue. The issue is the security of the Deputy President. And this all boils down to the withdrawal of the GSU about a couple of months ago. But what happens to the Deputy President and the President and other key leaders is that the inner cordon is done by the presidential guards. The outer is mainly done by the GSU. So I think the Inspector General of Police needs to speak to the people of Kenya on the safety and security of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. It's not a small matter, and that I think they need to come out very clearly. 2, I think all of us, we must condemn in the strongest term possible violence, hooliganism, politics of intolerance, and that's why we always say that this can only end if we move away from regional, ethnic politics. Go to a big party like even ODM and UDA. But I think what has happened today is IBC must condemn, the security agencies must condemn, all Kenyans of goodwill must condemn, and the political class must say no to that kind of violence. Because in the end, this kind of violence will take us to the election, and this kind of violence can lead us to the 2007 post-election violence.
Mheshimiwa, you're the chairman of ODM. You saw what happened today.
Yeah, I've watched it.
What are your thoughts?
First of all, let me say that violence, regardless of the target, regardless of the reasons and intentions, regardless of whether it is planned or spontaneous, is completely uncalled for, must be condemned in the strongest terms possible, whether it is not political violence or political violence. And more, worse still is a political violence. This is the beginning of breaking down of a country. When you cannot tolerate each other during campaigns, it takes you all the way to either elections, even after election. And I don't think that is what this country is prepared for. However, I'm not an investigator, but from what I hear and the information that I gather and the bit that I know about the politics of that area, more particularly Kondele, it is highly unlikely that if Kondele people don't want you to get to Kondele, that you'd have a rally and then they stone you as you leave. So there must be something that is not, the violence was not targeted at the Deputy President. That I would say with certainty. I would agree with those who are talking about the theory that probably there was disagreement between 2 groups of youths. And especially, you know, Jeff, We have thousands of unemployed youths in our streets. And if there is even fununu that some have been given some facilitation, it may be true, it may not be true, to some facilitation, and others don't get, you are likely to see some fracas. Unfortunately, it is targeting not just deputy president of this country, but a presidential candidate. And any violence, whether it happened in Nyeri, or what happened in Githurai on Prime Minister Raila Odinga, or what happened in Busia, if what was reported was true, I want to say that political violence must be stopped. Whether it is because of some inaction in our part or failure to do what we need to do, this must be stopped. And intelligence system must be at work. I have seen some letter, I don't know whether it is authentic or not, that information was relayed to the deputy president earlier, that there would be some issues around Kondele. If that was the case, I expected the deputy president to have listened to the intelligence, because he's the deputy president. This is a constitutional office. And for heaven's sake, Jeff, it does. And by the way, deputy president William Ruto arrived in Kisumu yesterday. He held meetings. There were no issues. Today he was in Migori, held meetings, there were no issues. Even before then, about a few weeks ago, he was in the same Migori. Today in the evening, he was in Homa Bay. And tomorrow is likely to still be in Nyanza region. And there are no incidences. So I just want to say that whoever is involved in this, whether it is just the youths who are disagreeing between themselves, whether it's Russia and America, as I hear the two groups are calling themselves, let them understand that their actions may bring this country to the brink of collapse.
But I think it's not even about the youth and all that. It's about the security and safety of the person of the deputy president. This must worry the National Intelligence Service. This must worry the Inspector General of Police. This must worry the National Security Council chaired by President Kenyatta. This must worry everybody, because you know there were a number of dangerous statements made by different people that the deputy president will not be the president of the Republic of Kenya. He will not see, that's it. You saw the removal of the elite GSU team guarding his house, which every time he was going out on a function, that GSU team used to give him what we call the outer cordon. So I think not only the safety of the deputy president, the safety of each and every Kenyan must be guaranteed by the state.
But what about
I think for the deputy president, and with the kind of tension within the ruling Jubilee government, I think the person who should be very much worried tonight is the boss of the deputy president. Because I am sure when you protect the deputy president, like all other jurisdictions, then as we are approaching the general election, it is a constitution that obligates you, that even you provide similar security to the most of the presidential candidates.
Yeah. Okay,
that happens.
You heard the intel reports. Just talk about handouts. You heard about that. That
yes.
One group was given some money, and they were supposed to share with the other group, and they didn't share, and that's what.
No, you know, Jeff. Let's not trivialize it. Even me and Honorable Bandi, if we are going to our constituencies and we are having a meeting, we give money for facilitation. That's something which very, very often happens. Even though, you know, Kondele might be a different area, it's an urban center. So there might be very, very much suspicion. But what the deputy president does, and I have been with him in all the meetings in Western, in Coast, in Kajiado, and in Kilgoris, is that he does empowerment of women groups in the market, empowerments of boda, and no cash is given there. In fact, the leadership, after they address us, before we go to the rally, that is where the empowerment program takes place. But I want to say it clearly that the Inspector General of Police cannot have two sets of communication on this matter. That the occurrence book, and that is the official police document that in every station that will be used even in a court of law, talks of a different scenario that happened today than what the police spokesman purported to say. And I have a feeling that the statement of the police given by the spokesman of the Inspector General of the police was a doctored statement. But I will repeat again in this show, and to government and to our heads of security agents, including the Minister for Interior, that as we approach the general election, let us provide security and safety of the people of Kenya and the leadership of this country in accordance with the Constitution. And I want to say it, that when you see a PS saying, "Tutawanyorosha hawa," I mean, that is uncalled for. That is unfortunate, particularly when you are in charge and you are the custodian of the instruments of power.
Okay, but he's going to your backyard tomorrow. You talked about Homa Bay, right?
He's already there.
He's already there?
He's already
and then on to Migori. They're watching you right now. They're watching you in your backyard in Homa Bay. What do you tell them?
No, certainly we have spoken to our people, and I want to repeat it. And by the way, Jeff, I'm trying to really be seen to defend any criminal act. I cannot defend criminal acts. Any case of violence must be condemned in the strongest terms possible. It does not serve anybody in any way. It has no value. Violence has no value. If you are one politician
who is promoting 2 weeks ago.
Violence.
2 weeks ago, he was a victim. We don't want to go into that.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, we don't
you see, violence does not help you in politics. Yeah. I have been around for a while. It doesn't pay. The only thing that I wanted to say, Jeff, is and not really to blame the DP's organizers, the organizers of the DP's functions, but I think they should be a bit politically alert, because there are certain things that I saw in the media before DP went to Kisumu, saying that you will donate a lorry at Kondele to the youths. That really looks funny, because how do you take a lorry to the youths in Kondele, who are in their thousands, and you are likely to give a small section of them? You are likely to cause problems.
There was no lorry.
So if, no, I'm just saying things that,
social media.
that were being reported. Yeah. And by the way, it was even captured in mainstream media. And I was like, is it true that you can do that? I listened to a vernacular radio station as I was coming here, and I listened to the deputy president announce the gifts that he purportedly brought to Kisumu. One of them was 2 million shillings to the border people, 2 million shillings to women groups. You are announcing, you have left it to who? You are likely to cause chaos. And I want to ask the deputy president that when he's going to certain areas, he should even look for old politicians, if he cannot get the current ones, to be in his team. This idea of bringing some cartels who have
no, you know...
No, I'm just saying the truth.
He wants to choose for us.
There are certain cartels. I'm just advising for free. It can be taken, you may leave it.
Oh, is that
but the truth is that if you are going for these cartels, who have never been in politics, people who don't understand the dynamics of politics, a place like Kondele, if you ask me, there is a way to go there and address the people. It's not a place that you just move and go and address people, because there are thousands of unemployed youth, some in drugs. So really, and you cannot tell them that I'm giving you 2 million. You have given it to me. That is something that I listened to Radio Ramogi.
No, I agree with you. Let me tell you.
What are all these?
Because John Bundy. Just let me finish. John Bundy and his team are not the team that empower people, and they don't have empowerment programs. So I can speak for the kind of empowerment that the deputy president and our team does.
But you used to belong to this party, remember?
That was about, I think, 8 years ago.
I don't think he understood me.
No. I mean, since I left ODM...
Can I just finish, then I can step in?
Go on.
You see, I'm not talking about empowerment. If that is your style of empowering youth, we are used to.
No, I've not been explained.
You can go ahead with it. What I was saying is you cannot go to a Kondele marketplace, place with rowdy youth, a place with unemployed youth, and you announce that I've given 2 million to the youth. To who?
But should
the youth will start asking who has that money, and there will be fracas.
Okay, should the deputy president be worried about his safety?
Now, you know that, let me tell you, I am not serving in the security apparatus of this country. I do not know the extent and the
Let me answer you that question.
of the deputy president's security details. From what I hear is that he has enough security details and security system is properly organized. He's the deputy president
Let me answer
of the country.
You disagree?
No, let me answer you. You have asked a good question. Should the deputy president be worried about his
safety?
The deputy president is a constitutional office holder, principal assistant of the president, within the reading of Article 147. It is a state that must give the deputy president 24/7 around the clock security. That office alone. So the deputy president should not be worried about. In fact, even the intelligence brief, it is not him who receives. The structure of the security given to the deputy president gives him all the safety he requires. And that's why we're saying those people who are the custodian of the security apparatus must be cognizant of the fact that they might have political differences with the deputy president. They might have personal differences with the deputy president. But the Constitution obligates them that as long as he holds that office, he must be protected. Just like the law that we passed for the deputy president, former prime minister, and the former vice president. In that retirement package, even for the former prime minister, there is a security element. But let me come back to the empowerment program. The deputy president does this every day. Every day we meet women. I mean, this is based on our economic model. And the reason why you see so many thousands of youth and people come to the rallies of the deputy president is because of two things. One, the message and the narrative and the agenda the deputy president is selling resonates very well with the masses, the bottom-up economic model. Secondly, the deputy president does not throw away empowerment cash into a crowd of 10,000 or 500,000 people. In everywhere we go, we have boda that have a structured circle in place with the leadership. We have got markets, like Kongwea, when we went to Kongwea Market. Kongwea Market has one of the best structured leadership. So what you do, the way even Honorable Mbadi can do, you can go to a ward, talk to the people, and if you want to leave something for that circle, for that market, you live with the leadership. Your people, the leadership in that area, your CDF chairman will make sure that that money is used. It might not happen 100%, but 80% happens.
Okay, but what Mheshimiwa there is doing, he's encouraging handouts.
Exactly.
No, it's not.
And you know,
it's not. Jeff. Then you don't know you don't know the meaning of a handout.
Go on.
Handout, the true meaning of a handout is when I give you money for free. Empowerment is totally a different thing. So now when you have a circle, for example, a boda circle, why do they form a boda circle? They want to have their own, they can go and negotiate for their own cheaper insurance. They can go and negotiate for their own cheaper license fee for their members through NTSA if they go as a group. They can even go and open, and I tell you in Mombasa, in Nyali, they've even opened, the circle opened its own spare shop. So when you put that money in their kitty, it's like you're giving them extra resources. And that's why we're saying if we form government, and ultimately we are going to form, in fact it's when we are going to form government, there will be 50 billion shillings that will be allocated to all the 290 constituencies.
Okay, before I go to Mheshimiwa Mbadi, real quick to reply to that, I guess...
So there's a big difference between, even Google, between empowerment and handouts.
Yeah, but what is the source? What is the source of the empowerment funds? What is the source?
No, let me ask you. Let me ask you. Every day, my zakah as a Muslim can be a source of empowerment fund. The deputy president, not once, even to these television stations, has told you the kind of business he runs. He can give part of his profits. We can do corporate collection. When I build mosques and madrasas in my constituency, the money doesn't come from me. It comes from a number of top business people who we do fundraising. So don't think that if I go and give 500,000 to Garissa Islamic Center, that money I must have gone to, it must be through a process of corruption. No, that is giving is in the heart. And giving is not a crime.
So you say this empowerment is from his own fund?
Absolutely, and even us, we contribute. If he pays $500,000, I pay 200,000, another member pays 50 shillings. And I do that even in my constituency on a daily,
okay,
and it's not handout.
You see, first, where I agree with Duale is that many people who attend the DP's rallies, one of the motivation is the handouts.
You don't agree with me?
There I agree with him.
I didn't say that.
But you can call it, you can coin another name for it, but it's basically handouts. No. But let me put it this way. You see, we are dealing with someone who has been a DP of this country for about 9 years. From 2013 to 2017, I did not see any serious policy direction that DP proposed.
Sure.
And by the way, Honorable Duale was actually the majority leader. Yeah. You know, we are very advantaged here. Was the majority leader. And apart from ways of fund, which was a promise by Uhuru Kenyatta when he was campaigning, that should we not go for a rerun, that money that would have been spent in doing the second election, I will put as a kitty for the youth and other groups. And that is the source of ways of funds. Apart from that, there are no deliberate youth policy direction and the ideas that the Deputy President came with. In fact, all these things that the Deputy President is talking about and thinking of implementing after August 9th, 2022, he had a perfect opportunity. Between 2013, I don't even want to talk about 2018 coming forward. This bottom-up model would have been the first thing that him and the President Uhuru Kenyatta would have pushed through in 2013 when our economy was even on a stronger footing. That time, remember that time, our debt level was 1.8 trillion. Mm-hmm. Today, it is upwards of 9 trillion. So the circumstances were better then. And I have had a lot of talks from our colleagues that what has diverted attention of the Jubilee government, Jubilee 2, is BBI. I keep on asking myself, and I know some of these people talk out of ignorance, but Honorable Duale certainly is not in that category, because I know Duale understands Parliament and parliamentary procedures very well, and is one MP who never misses sittings of Parliament. And as a majority leader, we must credit him. He followed through every bit of legislation, so he understands. If you look at our budgets all the way from 2018 to date, that 3 trillion budget that we have, which allocates funds to education, funds to infrastructure, number 2, number 3 is health at the national level. There is no line that BBI has been funded. All the fundings that we have been approving in Parliament, all the funding,
how was it funded?
All the things that we have been approving in Parliament, we have been approving with my brother here.
How was it funded?
And I would tell you, as a matter of fact, by the way, the budget line for BBI is very minimal. It cannot divert resources of this country. So what they have been talking is pure politics.
Let's not go to BBI. BBI has stopped, reggae has stopped. So, you know, that's history now.
That reggae stopped?
Reggae has stopped.
It can't stop because you didn't start it. You know, you can't stop something you didn't start.
No, let me finish.
Okay, first answer that part about...
about the policies and all that.
Correct.
Let me tell you, Jeff. Number one, you know, he is not an expert to talk about the affairs of the Jubilee, particularly between 2013 and 2017.
No, but I can...
let me finish. Between 2013 and 2017.
Policies are passed in Parliament.
No, I'm saying the Jubilee, I said the Jubilee affairs.
Yes.
Number one, President Uhuru Kenyatta as our leader and Ruto as a deputy, the first 5 years, we had a deliberate policy interventions and budgetary guidelines that we knew what we were to do was to put the foundation of creating jobs and empowering the small people. Number one, we did very well on universal health care. Every mother could go and deliver in a hospital free of charge. It has never happened in all successive governments. Two, in that time we built more over than 7,000 kilometers of tarmac road. In
the first 5 years?
Yes. No. Now it's 9. Now it's 9. True. The president said in Kirinyaga, just give me a minute. The president said in Kirinyaga 9. But the first 5 years was when most of the roads were done.
That's not true.
7,000. We modernized our port. We built the modern SGR railway line. We built over, I think, 150 technical training institutions. For the first time, we increased our power capacity. We invested heavily in geothermal, in solar, in wind. If you go to Garissa, you'll find the 50 megawatt, the biggest in Central and Eastern Central Africa. Our next 5 years of President Uhuru Kenyatta, we had 4 key issues to deal with. And those 4 key issues is exactly what the bottom up is all about.
Okay, but wait.
Let me finish. Let me just finish.
Housing. As you praised the first 5 years.
No.
Okay. You also promised laptops.
No. If I finish, I agree.
You promised stadiums.
No. Let me say it. Let me say it. I speak my mind.
Yep.
There are a number of issues we never fulfilled. We promised stadiums. Maybe we did up to 50%. We promised laptops.
50%?
Well, yes. I mean, there were stadiums which were built. Oh. There were stadiums which were built. There are some, we didn't do all of them, but some were built. We didn't provide laptops. We put the country into serious debt. You know, but we fixed both the local and the international security. Both the terror numbers went down and all that since that time. But when we came to the second term of this government, we had 4 key issues. Housing was to create 4,000 jobs.
The Big Four.
The Big Four.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened to the Big Four? What happened to the Big Four is that in the beginning of us implementing the Big Four, and by the way, let me assure the people of Kenya that those of us who worked with President Uhuru Kenyatta, led by the Deputy President, we want to assure them that we will implement the Big Four agenda when we form government. So what happened? Reggae came in. BBI came in. The Jubilee Party, which is, a government is run, even ODM, a government is run by a stable, secure political vehicle. Jubilee was cannibalized. And that's why today you see a party of 176 members today cannot account for that number. They can only account for about 23, 28 members. You see, so there was a serious division within our rank and file as Jubilee. So the 4 big agenda or plan were to create jobs, were to make sure that the people at the bottom of the pyramid will be helped. Unfortunately, some of us, we are not to blamed. I think President Uhuru Kenyatta got some visitors, not good visitors.
Let's speak to the chairman of the visitors.
I didn't say.
Let me just help you.
I didn't say you own the visitors, but they come from the same neighborhood.
Duale, when he starts giving statistics about performance of Jubilee, he has a selective amnesia.
But Jeff, 1 minute. Jeff, 1 minute. 1 minute. There were times, the late Jacoy Midio and Nyenze and even Honorable Badi used to be the really opposition who could challenge our numbers. But I want to say it here. Tonight, he doesn't have the moral authority to challenge the numbers I'm saying because he's not in the opposition.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Actually, Jeff.
He's in government.
I hope one time you will invite us here. And we discuss the statistics. When he talks about roads, more roads have been done from 2018 to date.
No.
I will tell you for a fact.
But you can do your own research.
And I will tell you, even
but it's not in government.
If I'm to talk about my constituency alone, more roads are done now in my constituency. They were not done during their
It's because of the handshake.
years.
He doesn't know.
Now it is done.
The other roads are done in other parts of the country.
Listen, look at what is happening in central Kenya. Major roads in central Kenya. which are going on, and we can see it. Go to Bomet, there's a road which was started with my road there. Go to Lower Eastern, Matungulu constituency, and I know many of them. So, even Bomet is a handshake. They're not even in the program. But anyway, let's avoid that, because we don't have those figures and facts.
Yes.
You see, when Duale talks about visitors, you see, Duale from 2018, for 2 financial years, in this term of Jubilee government, he was a majority leader.
Very loyal.
And we passed 2 budgets, which were supposed to implement Big 4 agenda. Could Duale tell us if there is any money that was diverted through budgetary provision from the Big 4 agenda to another program, and what was that program? This is total propaganda that there is something that interfered with the implementation of Big 4 agenda. And by the way, Jubilee 2 has been in place at a very difficult time.
Who is Jubilee
2? We have Jubilee 2 from 2018. Where
so you guys became Jubilee?
No. I've not said I'm in Jubilee. But there is Jubilee 2, where Duale is not majority leader.
Right.
Yeah.
Where Duale is now not supporting the president's agenda. Jubilee 1, Duale could die for Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
He just said he was a very loyal...
and he was a very loyal member. And by the way, when he's loyal...
The way he's loyal...
Duale, when he's loyal,
let me tell you,
he's loyal.
The way he's loyal to Raila Odinga.
So now, the point is, that what I was saying to...
now I'm very loyal to William Ruto. I mean, I have no apologies to make.
That policies of government are government service delivery and projects are delivered through policies, which are funded through a budget. Now, if you cannot pinpoint the diversion or change of government policy through budget, please, whatever you are saying is pure.
Let me pinpoint.
So what you're saying is the Big 4 agenda budget, which
the Big 4 agenda have always been funded. The challenges are there. Look at the universal healthcare. He has just spoken that universal healthcare was one of their successes.
Right.
Is one of the Big 4 agenda.
The
so if it is a success, then how come?
The maternity, not universal. Universal is yet to be successful.
If it is health.
No, there's a big difference.
Healthcare, maternity gives the universal.
No.
Those are methods of realizing universal healthcare. If you have good maternity,
universal healthcare.
That is one component.
No, let me say it.
Okay.
Universal healthcare.
Am I sure Duale cannot allow me speak?
No, let me finish.
Can you help me?
No. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me say universal healthcare.
Yes.
Oh my God.
There were 4 big agendas. There were big 4 agendas.
Can I just finish?
Yes, you finish your point.
We had manufacturing. Since 2018 is where we have seen even revival of Rivertex and others. Where was there? What did they revive as in terms of industries in the first term of Jubilee? What are they telling us? What the Jubilee 1 was doing was to borrow money to implement projects that Kibaki left in place. In fact, the port he's talking about is a Kibaki project and Raila project in the Grand Coalition government, and he knows it. Okay. They only came in to complete it.
But
the only thing that they initiated, but they didn't initiate. In fact, they started, because initiation was Grand Coalition government, was the standard gauge railway, which again, they inflated the costs. So, and borrowed heavily to fund it. So Jeff, what I would tell Duale is that before Deputy President tells Kenya all these flowery things, he should tell us how he utilized his period and time in government as Deputy President. And he's still earning a salary, by the way. I hope he's not a ghost worker.
Let me say
he's still earning a
let me say
as
this.
Deputy President.
No, let me say this.
Let's finish this topic.
No.
Let's finish this topic.
Yeah, let me say this. Mheshimiwa Mbandi, you cannot have the luxury to speak for the Grand Coalition government and to speak for the second term of Jubilee and to pinpoint on the debt level. You are either you have the choice to speak as the opposition leader.
That's why.
No, let me tell you. But you want to critique the second term. Let me say this. Number one, the housing has not taken place because we said we're going to build 500,000 houses. Jeff, you are in this country. No houses. Not even 20,000 units have been built. We said we will create a universal health care where every Kenyan, whether he is in employment or in the streets, he can walk to the nearest clinic and be treated free. That is universal health care. It's not free maternity. 4 was to create sufficient food security, that we remove cartels, we invest in fertilizer, give subsidies, remove the dependency on rain-fed agriculture, go to irrigated agriculture. We have big rivers, including my own constituency, and make Kenya food sufficient. The moment you do that, then you reduce the cost of living. And the last one was to increase our manufacturing sector by 15%, called Kenya Association of Manufacturers. In fact, more companies, more industries have left this country because of expensive power, because of high labor cost. So the first time what we did, it is in the economic review report prepared by Kenya Bureau of Statistics. But let me come back to...
By the way, I'm glad you mentioned the big four and what they are, because
let me come back to it. A new development has happened tonight, that you are in town. A lot of money was used in BBI.
How much?
No. I mean, no. Can I finish?
No.
Can I finish? I agree with him. Honorable Bandi has been a member of the budget committee since 2013. So he takes the blame of even the debt level. You know, him and the rest, and Honorable Ichunga, myself, all of us. Because we had an opportunity. You know, Kibaki left at 1.8 trillion.
Yes.
Today we're doing 12 trillion, and when the House has only passed 9 trillion. Because what we have in the books is 8.7.
12 trillion is a
No, what we have in the books is 8.7. Then you need to add the debts of the many parastatals and sagas.
Those ones have always been there.
Okay, but they're debts.
Yes.
So what am I coming to? What am I coming to? You know, we have got 10 months to the election. We are on track. In 2015, President Uhuru Kenyatta himself, and I'm sure he's watching me, told us, let us fold up these regional tribal parties.
Before we go there, you know,
let me finish. Let me finish. You know, I allowed you to speak. I allowed you to.
Nobody there.
I allowed you. I allowed him to speak. So let me finish.
Okay, finish. Let him speak.
But let him not go to folding.
So let me finish.
Before we deal with
unless you are not our host.
No, I'm your host.
I waited, so you give me a chance.
But you keep jumping in.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll allow you people to talk. Then when my time comes, then I'll speak. I mean,
let him speak.
Is this kasirika?
No, it's not. Because I kept quiet. It's my town. So what I'll do now,
my apologies.
I'll allow you to talk. When you finish, then I can start.
Okay, allow me to take a break at this point. When we come back, your party, Jubilee, has an NDC at the end of this month.
Absolutely.
Have you been invited?
No, I mean, I've not been invited, and I'm not very much...
Are you attending?
I'm not very much excited attending.
Are you attending?
I am not, even if I'm invited. Because my soul and spirit...
Of taking let me Jubilee before we finish this, but anyway.
Ask me why I'm not attending.
I'll ask you after the break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ask me. I'm not attending. Then if they invite me. So if they're watching me, please don't invite me. I have no business to the NDC.
And if you get kicked